In this lesson, we're going to cover the concept of a password manager. Now, a password manager is a specialized tool or plugin or extension that can be used with your web browser in order to remember all the different usernames and passwords you have for all the various sites that are out there. Now, one of the biggest vulnerabilities or traps that I see end users falling into is the fact that they reuse their passwords. And this is a really dangerous practice because if you're reusing a password across multiple websites and one of those websites gets hacked, well, your password is now known by everybody on the dark web, and they can try using that across other sites as well. We saw this happen many years ago when sites like MSN or Yahoo or Target had gotten breached. Then the attackers took those usernames and passwords they got from that breach and then tried it across many other sites. And if you reuse the same username or password across multiple sites, they would have access to all of your data. One of the biggest challenges with this password reuse is that most usernames are going to be the same because most usernames are going to be set to your email address. And most of us use the same email address across multiple sites. So it is really important that we use a different, long, strong, and complicated password for every single website that we're going to use. Now, unfortunately, as humans, it's really hard for us to remember a lot of long, strong, complicated passwords. So there is this function called a password manager who can do this for you. And this is what we're going to talk about in this particular lesson. Now, many of our web browsers have a password functionality built into it directly. For example, if you go into Google Chrome, you will find that when you go into the settings underneath the three dots, that you will be able to go into your autofill area. And from here, there is a built-in password manager. Now, you're going to notice here that I actually am not using this password manager. And most of the time, I actually prefer to turn off the feature to offer to save my passwords or to use auto sign-in with this password manager. The reason is, personally, I find that password managers that are built into another tool, such as a web browser, are not nearly as secure as those that are standalone third-party tools. So instead of using the built-in password manager inside of Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Apple Safari, or Mozilla's Firefox, I tend to prefer to use a third-party password manager like 1Pass, Dashlane, LastPass, or Bitwarden. In my case, I actually prefer Bitwarden, and that's what I'm going to show you how to install as a third-party extension into Google Chrome and how you can use that type of a password manager as you move forward with your daily work. Now, in order to install Bitwarden, which is the password manager I want to use, I need to first go into the extension store, and by going into the extension store or marketplace, I can download the extensions that I want. So I'm going to go up here into my three dots, I'm going to go over here to my more tools, and then I'm going to go to extensions. From here, I'm going to be able to search my extensions, which will only search what's locally on my computer, or I can click the three lines on the left-hand side and go down to the bottom to open the Chrome Web Store. From here, I now have a trusted area to download different tools, plugins, and extensions that I may want to use. In our case, I'm looking for a password manager, so I'm going to type that in, and you're going to see there are lots and lots of password managers out there, but the first three that come up are the ones that are featured by Google, which include the Avira Password Manager, LastPass, and Norton Password Manager. In addition to this, if you click on the More button, you'll see all of the other extensions that fit the term Password Manager, sorted by either ranking or being featured because they paid an extra fee to Google. In my case, I only want to consider any password manager that is going to be 4-star or above, and so I can do that by clicking on the ratings over here. And if I wanted to be even a little bit more stringent, I could say I only want to look at 5-star rated programs. Here, you can see that the first one that pops up is Bitwarden, which is the one that I personally use, and I really like it and trust it. To be able to use Bitwarden here, we'll simply click on it, and this will allow us to go and add this into our Chrome as an extension. Go ahead and click Add Extension, and this now gives this password manager the ability to read and write passwords as you're entering them into different sites, and to be able to use those and hold those as an encrypted and protected vault that contains all of your sensitive information. Once you have that done, you can go ahead and close this tab, and then we're going to go ahead and close this tab and this tab as well, bringing us back to our settings area. From here, I'm going to click on the little puzzle piece icon, which is for the extensions, and you'll see that Bitwarden has now been installed. If you click the little pin next to it, this will pin it to your taskbar at the top, and you'll see it's now located right here. From there, you can click on Bitwarden, and then you'll be able to log in, sign in with an enterprise account, or create a new account. Bitwarden is a completely free password manager that you can use on a personal level. But if you're like me and you have a corporate account, you can log in using those corporate account credentials as well. And there is a fee as a company to be able to have a Bitwarden account across your entire organization and it allows you to share passwords with other people as well, and this makes it really useful, especially if you want to share passwords in a more secure way. In our case, we're going to go ahead and create a new account, and I'm just going to put in my email address. In this case, I'm going to use Titan Cipher, which is an account I use for demonstrations, and I'm going to give it a nice, long, strong password. Once you've done that, you can then retype your master password. And this password is what's going to be used to be able to create that encryption, and it's going to encrypt all of your documents and all of your passwords using this same password. This means if you ever forget this password, you will now have no access to any of the other passwords you have, because this is the encryption key. So it's important to choose something that is long and strong, but also something you can remember. The great thing about using a password manager like this, though, is you only have to remember one long, strong password, because everything else will be stored by this tool and be able to be used anytime we log into a site. Now that I've done that, I'm going to click the I am human by clicking the CAPTCHA, and then I will submit this, and this will create my new account. Now that my new account has been created, I can log in. So I'm going to use titancipher@gmail.com, and then my nice long, strong password that I just created. This will then decrypt this vault and allow me to access anything inside of it. Once you've done that, click I am a human, and then log in. From here, you now have your vault, and inside your vault, you can add different items. For example, let's say I wanted to go in here and added a new account, for example, Gmail. The username for that was titancipher@gmail.com, and then we can select our password. If we have a current password that may not be very secure, like password, we can put that in and it will save it for us. Or we can choose to have it generate a random long, strong password for us. If I click that button, you will see it will overwrite the current password with a nice, long, strong password. From here, we can choose to either use a password or a username, a password or a passphrase, and how long we want it to be. In my case, I want it to be a password that's at least 14 characters long, has uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and special characters. And at this point, I have everything the way I want. I can go ahead and hit select, and this will then create that nice, long, strong, random password. Now, don't worry about memorizing this password because it doesn't really matter. Once we save this and we try to log into Google, it's going to be able to use this password for us to be able to log in to that account. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here. And now that I've done that, you can see that Google is here. If I wanted to be able to get my username from that, I can click on the head and this will copy that, and then I can paste that anywhere I needed to, for example, right there. Or if I wanted to be able to go ahead and grab that password, I can again click right into here, type in Gmail, and then click on the password key. Once I do that, it's copied that long, strong password again for me. And from here, I'm able to paste it in and you can see that long, strong password. In addition to that, when you go to a website like Gmail and you try to log in, it's going to allow you to be able to log in using that BitLocker login. So I'll click here and it will be able to find that I have Gmail. And from here, I'll click on that and it will allow me to copy in that username. In addition to that, we can then put in our password by doing the exact same thing, going into here, selecting our Google account, and then copying and pasting in that password, and then clicking next in order to log in. And from here, we're now logged into this account and we'll have no issues moving forward and using Bitwarden. Now also, whenever you're using Bitwarden, anytime you try to log into a new site for the first time, it will ask you if you want to remember its username and password. For example, let's say I wanted to go and create a new account at something like carnival.com, which is a cruise provider here in the United States. If I wanted to do that, I can go here to carnival.com, and then once I get to the website, I can then click on create an account. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and enter in the username and password that I want to use. In this case, titancipher@gmail.com. And then when I go to password, again, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to choose a random password using my generator. Once I have that, I'll paste it in. If I hit show password, you'll see it's that same password I just had, and then click sign up. Once you get to the website and you click on login or create an account, in my case, I already have an account, so I'm going to click on login. And when I go here, it's going to be able to go and find that inside of Bitwarden, any passwords that I've already saved there. So if you click here on Bitwarden, you'll see that I already have carnival.com and titancipher@gmail.com. If I simply click on my name here, it will automatically fill it in both locations and allow me to click login to be able to access this website, just like I could if I entered the username and password myself. The really big benefit of using something like Bitwarden is that you can have all of your details in one place and one secure method that is fully encrypted and protected using the long, strong password that we created as our original master password. This protects all of the other passwords, and if I log into my actual Bitwarden account I use at work, I have hundreds and thousands of different passwords, and I can control them all from within Bitwarden, and I only have to memorize one key password that serves as my encryption phrase. So keep this in mind when you're using your password managers. Password managers are an awesome tool to give you additional security and prevent you from having password reuse across your organization.